Hello guys and welcome back. Today is a new series. Just like I begun the ride and review series for a differentiation with the ride on boards which were no speaking, we're going to do the same with my full route visual and route snippet series. This one is going to be one where I talk to the camera, I explain the route, the frequency, the allocations and all of that. And what I'm going to call it is explaining routes or something like that. You would know based on the title. And today's instalment of that, the first ever episode, is going to be Stagecoach West's Service 77. So we're going to, in every single episode, take a ride on board the actual route, film out the window at various different places, talk about the various key points along the route, look at each terminus, talk about the timetable as well as looking at an actual PDF, maybe at each individual stop, maybe at each end. We'll talk about the allocations the route gets, the depot it runs out of if it's just Stagecoach or the company it's run by, and what depot it is if it's a different company, for example, Cotswold Green, Pullens, all of the different companies in the area. We'll also, at the end, rate the route out of 10, just like we are on the Ride and Review series, out of 10, and it will become a big ranking. We'll start with just whatever route comes to mind, and I think this will be a new change to the channel, bringing more talking videos there, just alongside the ride and review. The ride and on board, the quiet ones, will still exist, and the full route visual / route snippets with no talking, or some commentary, will still exist. However, this will add in more videos about the routes. Today's route, as I've already mentioned, is the 77. I won't be riding it the entirety down to Highworth. I'll only be riding a variation which terminates at Lechlade Marketplace. However, the majority of the route up to Lechlade is the same, and then it goes down via Inglesham through to Highworth, and to be honest, you don't really need to see that part of the route. So we'll talk all about the different route, the allocations the route gets, the timetabling, how frequent it is, and where you can get to on the route, as well as looking at all the key points along the way. If you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe for more videos just like this every single day at 6 PM GMT. If you haven't yet seen yesterday's video, as of uploading this, bus spotting in Cirencester, please do go check that out, as that might have featured this route, I'm not really sure. While I'm here, I'm going to talk about the allocations for Service 77. It gets a wide range of vehicles. Majority of the time it gets an Optare Solo SR, those being YJ74 DAA, DAO or DAU, or an ADL Enviro 200, normally being a VU11, or SN63, SN64, those sort of things. However, the service I'm going to be going on, and some I think it's Fridays it gets one, and busier days, as this duty, there's one trip a day where you fill out a lower decker. So you do actually need a double decker. So you sometimes see a Scania N230 UD ADL Enviro 400, which are the VX09 plated, VX62 sometimes, and maybe even a Dennis Trident 2 ADL Enviro 400, which are the MX57, DZL, DZM, DZM. However, today I will be riding on board 15530, which is the Scania N230 UD ADL Enviro 400. We will be riding on the 1325 service from the Forum to Lechlade Marketplace and back, but I don't think I will be recording for the return. This route generally uses 2 to 3 vehicles a day and is paired alongside the 76 and 78, so a vehicle will come off the 76 and go on to the 77 in the evening, or 78 for example. 76 runs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, with the 78 running the Wednesday and the Friday as well. They're separate routes, we'll talk about those in other videos, but what happens is one bus might do, for example, 76, 77, 76, 76, 77, 77, for example. So like the school run is a 76, the daytime is a 76, but then it goes on to the evening 77, for example. But the duty I'm riding on is literally just 77, 77, 77, the trip it's on now as of filming, 77, 77, 77. So it does Highworth to Ciren, Ciren to Highworth, Highworth to Ciren, Ciren to Highworth, Highworth to Ciren, Ciren to Lechlade, which is the one I'll be riding, and then Lechlade to Ciren, done. That's it. It's pretty simple, and today it does have a double decker, so we'll go upstairs, top front, you know the drill. This route from Cirencester operates a few trips a day. The first trip is at 7:55 or 8:10, depending on Gloucestershire school days or school holidays, being the earlier departure if it is a school day. And it also goes via Quennington. Very nice. Then it leaves at 11:35. Then it leaves at 1:25, which is the service we'll be getting. That terminates at Lechlade. And then you've got 5:35, which is the final one of the day. Saturdays, you've got 8:45 terminating at Lechlade. 11:05, I believe it is. Sorry, it's 11:05 in the week, so I'm getting confused. 11:35 on a Saturday, and then 5:35. And coming back inbound from Highworth, you've got Monday to Friday, 6:40, 9:15, and then 4:30. I don't think there's one in between. Oh, 12:30, 4:30. And Saturdays, you just have 9:15. No, you don't have 9:15. I'm telling fibs. You have one in the early morning, which gets you in for 8:30 ish. You have one at lunchtime and one at early afternoon at 4:30. That's it. 3 trips a day. And then from Lechlade, you get one extra because you get one that just terminates in Lechlade, which is the one we'll be on, which begins from Lechlade at 15:40. So that's a long intro out the way, explaining the new series. Hope you enjoyed that concept and the actual route, the allocations, the timetable, where we're going, what we're doing. So it's Cirencester, the Beaches, Ampney Crucis, Poulton, Fairford, Lechlade, and then down to Highworth. But we won't be riding to Highworth today because no thank you. Also, it is key to announce the old 1625 departure that ran on Cirencester College days when Stagecoach did it, which extended to Burford after Lechlade, is now ran by Pullens under C77 using a coach. It still leaves the Forum at 4:25, but there's no longer a Lechlade variation in the school holidays at all. So there's that 1:25 until 5:35 gap, which we'll talk about later on in the video when we're actually on the route. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more videos just like this every single day. And I'll see you when we're probably either filming it or getting on it. See you in a bit. Okay, well, the narrative of this video has changed. We're here in the very piece... There's a bench over there. Should we sit on the bench? Let's sit on the bench. So, we have just left Mr. Bus Driver Frush and 15530. Here, we did just get off at Fairford Fire Station. Now, that was a beautiful little run. Now, we didn't do the variation, any variation of the 77. However, going back, we've got the school run variation, which I'm glad it's a decker, because if that's busy, they'll all go upstairs, all the school kids. So that'll be grand. And that does the variation via Quennington, the first school stop, like over the top. So that's the school variation. So it's off to Lechlade now. It will dead run back. It'll be back here in about half an hour, give or take. Overall, though, the main route that you see on the 1105 trip, the 535 trip, and the trip I just did, it just runs direct down the A417 through this bit of Fairford, and then round the back, back onto the A417 into Lechlade. Most go up to Venimore, excluding this trip and the 9:15 from Highworth into Cirencester, which go at Priory Park instead. So you actually now, with the new duty, get the same bus and same driver if you're getting on at Priory Park, going both ways. Now, it is a very idyllic route. I said we would look at a timetable. Now, I have already spoke a little bit about the timetable. I am going to have to get up from the thing. So there's only a timetable board in one direction. So we'll have a look at this. This is Fairford, opposite Fire Station. And there's so where I've just got off is this side. And that's the side I'm at now. So it's served only by the 76 and the 77. No other service stops here. So let's have a little look. So this is the 77 timetable from the other side of the road where I've just got off. So Monday to Friday you have a bus at 7:01, 8:36 or 37 depending on school days or school holidays, 11:31, all going to Highworth via Venimore. Then you have 1:51 terminating at the marketplace in Lechlade, going via Priory Park, and then the final one 6:01. And then on Saturdays you have 7:01 as normal, 9:11 terminating at Lechlade Marketplace, then 12:01 and 6:01. Then this side of the road, you've got the 176 in both directions. So the 76 towards the school and the marketplace is at 8:31 on school days. Going the other way, on Thursdays it leaves at 3:17, and then 3:37 all other days of the week, and that goes to Highworth via Hatherop, Eastlich, Turville and Southwark, as well as Lechlade. And then, of course, you've got the 77 towards Cirencester. So at Monday to Friday, you have a 7:12 service, which serves Down Ampney to Broadleys and Poulton. Down Ampney, Broadleys to Poulton, instead of serving Elf Meadows, taking a bit longer. About 10 minutes longer. Then you have 9:47 and 12:47, which is what we've just done. Then you have 5:02, which doesn't serve the Beeches estate. And then on Saturdays, they're all the same, 8:12, 1:12 and 5:02. So the 76 actually used to be numbered 77A or in some formation, and it actually used to run, what's the word? It used to run from, can't think, it used to run, I can't think what I'm trying to say, like, it used to run what the 76 does now, which is a bit of a variation of the 77. So the 76 operates the Highworth to Farmor school run in both directions Monday to Friday. And it operates just like the 78 does, one trip in each direction for those living in the villages to get into Cirencester. So 76 runs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 78 runs Wednesday, Thursday. Now, because I'll probably never ride those routes for one of these videos, episodes, I'm just going to talk about both of those in this one. So the 76 serves Southwark, Hatherop, Eastlich, Turville, Lechlade, Quennington, all of the rest of it is one, and it's a bit of a variation, and again it operates one in each direction. It leaves in the morning from Southwark the Swan about 09:16, in for about 10:25 give or take, and the return journey begins at 12:40 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. And then the 78 runs Wednesday and Friday from Winston, serving Chedworth, Yanworth, Withington, North Cerney, Wrencombe, Woodmancote, Badgington, etc. It leaves Winton in the morning, Wednesdays and Fridays at 9:05, getting to Cirencester at 10:25, with a return still beginning at 12:40. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 78 doesn't run. Wednesday, Friday, 76 doesn't run. And then on a Saturday, the 76 does still run. No school, obviously. It just does the one in each direction, and it extends to Lechlade because it's in the absence of a 77. And it leaves a bit later. So I can't remember what time exactly it gets in the morning, the 76, what the morning run is. I believe it gets in around the same sort of time, about 10:30. But instead of leaving at 12:40, it leaves at 2:20, goes all the way to Lechlade, and then the driver from there will dead run to Highworth and then serve that 4:30 service from Highworth to Ciren and Ciren back to Highworth. Overall, it is a very nice route. It's very quiet and very, not quiet in terms of passengers, quiet in terms of where it goes. It's very nice. Obviously, 76 is a gorgeous route. It goes down all the villages, sound as a pound. Yeah, it's one of those really, really nice routes. Like, it gets really busy at times, don't get me wrong. That's why sometimes it does get a decker on certain journeys. On a Friday, from, from Priory Park, it is actually fairly busy. But apart from that, all in all, it is pretty nice. So the 77, as I've said, the allocations can be all over the place. You could see an Optare Solo SR. The Optare Solo SR will always complete the 76, 78. That'll always be an Optare Solo SR. Saturdays, your 76 might be an E200, but 9 times out of 10 they use an Optare Solo SR. Just Saturdays, the variation. And now the 77 at 4:30 from Highworth and 5:35 from Ciren back to Highworth. That is now can only be an Optare Solo SR because it comes off the back of the 76, 78. So the full duty is it does what it always did. So it does the school run in the morning, then it dead runs to either Southrop or Winson, serves in the morning run, sits around in Ciren until the afternoon run, then it does the 12:40 run back out to wherever it's come from, either Winson or Southrop, and then it dead runs to the school, serves the school run to Highworth, then it does Highworth, Ciren, Highworth, done. So that last round trip. So that will now always be an Optare Solo SR. Definitely Wednesday, Friday, 9 times out of 10 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, because the 76 can take an Enviro 200. They just tend not to. As for the normal day of 77s, the duty we've just done, or the vehicle we've just done, the trips it does are as follows. It does the 6:40 from Highworth, the 7:55 or 8:10 from Cirencester. It does the 9:15 from Highworth, the 11:05 from Cirencester, the 12:15 from Highworth, the 1:25 from Cirencester, the 3:40 or, well, 3:15 or 3:40 school run from Fairford to Cirencester, and then it goes back to the depot. And of course, as I've said, today it's using a double-decker Enviro 400. Normally though, that duty sees an Enviro 200. Now in the past it has seen Optare Solo SRs, but fortunately, on a Friday it gets really busy in a Priory Park on that 0915 service, so now that has to be an E200 or E400 as demonstrated today. And then the other trips I've already covered, so yeah, you 9 times out of 10 get a Enviro 200 all day on those trips mentioned, the duty that Fruscia's got today. However, that 4:30 and 5:35 PM trips will be a Solo SR. The school run can differ between a Solo SR, etc. The 76 will be a Solo SR or E200. It will never be an E400. And the 78 will never be anything but a Solo SR. That is why they've got those 3 Solo SRs, YJ, 74, DAA, DAO, DAU. So they are, that's why they're at Stroud. Say Stroud Depot lost 76, 77, 78. I don't know, because obviously they come as a package deal. But for example, if they only lost the 77, they would keep the Solo SRs. But if they also lost the 78, they would lose the SRs, because that's all they're there for. And of course, they are the short wheelbase Solo SRs. So we will potentially, in this video, I will film one of those. when it comes on the 5:35 p.m. trip later on in Cirencester. It will complete the 76 school run, which goes that way, so Farmers to Highworth, but we won't see it come through the marketplace and that sort of area. So overall, the 77 is a really nice route. So I'm going to rate this separately. I'm going to rate the 76, the 77 normal variation, the 77 school variation going via Quennington, and then I'll rate the 78. So 76, gorgeous route, goes through very nice villages. Yes, it's single track at times. It can be a bit weird. The roads, they can be a bit iffy. You can get stuck, and of course at Riat it is a bit of a shocking route, because it's got to cut out quite a lot of it, which does actually isolate certain passengers. But it is a really nice route. It's really, it's really laid back. It's fairly quiet. It's a very unproblematic route, unless you do meet a vehicle when you're going 99 miles an hour, do you know what I mean? Which you won't be doing. Apart from that, apart from maybe some road issues and being a bit narrow, being a bit too narrow, apart from that, it is a really nice route. So I will rate the 76 a solid 9 out of 10. I think it is actually Frush's favourite route. I have to disagree. I think the 78, that's really low. He bases it off of passengers. I do not, because I do not care about the passengers. No offence. The 78 is the better route of the two. It goes through the likes of Chedworth and Yanworth, which are gorgeous. Go watch my full route visual. It is an absolutely gorgeous route. Yes, I kept falling asleep. We don't talk about that, Mr. Frush. It's really nice. Yes, it only runs Wednesdays and Fridays, but all in all, it is quite a nice route, and I've got to say, 10 out of 10. The only things I would say, same as the 76, sometimes you go down a narrow road that's a bit iffy, and I wouldn't like to do it in the dark, but it doesn't do it in the dark, so crack on, do you know what I mean? It's really nice, and if you live in North Surrey, it's a different one than the 51. The drivers are really nice. Well, majority of them are really nice. So 78 I'm going to give 10 out of 10. Now 77, which is the main purpose of this video, I just realised let's just incorporate all three, because it might as well. Now, the normal variation I really do enjoy. The Venimore variation is really nice. I'd rate the normal Venimore down the A417, no variations, version a solid 8 out of 10. Do you know, I like all three of these routes. They are all very nice routes. Then, of course, you have the school variation via Quennington, and the other variation via Down Ampney, which I'm going to rate both of those 9 out of 10. Yes, they're a bit longer, but they are the nicer routes. Now, I've realised this clip in the video has been 10 minutes, so we're going to crack on. The next time you see me, we'll be boarding the 15:45 77 from the marketplace back to Cirencester on the school via Quennington variation. See you in a bit.